Hey folks, today we are diving into a tricky issue that I encountered when I wanted to import the package Babel Traverse. If you recall, in the previous video we generated an AST of the JSX using Babel parse package, and to transform it I need to use the Traverse package that provides functionality for traversing and manipulating ASTs. So let's see why a simple import statement can lead to unexpected errors. My starting point was this documentation that is straightforward actually. We just need to add the package and create an object that defines the transformation as described here and pass it to the traverse with the AST. So let's do it. Let's remove this log and let's create an object called transformation that defines the enter function as described in the documentation. And here just log to the console this path and see what happens. And yeah, pretty straightforward. But when I try to run this code, ta-da! Traverse is not a function. It turned out that the root cause of this issue lies in how CommonJS modules and ES modules interact, especially when it comes to default export and import. First, a quick reminder, what are CommonJS and ES modules? CommonJS was developed for server-side JavaScript, mainly for Node.js at the beginning. It uses this syntax with the require. It loads synchronously and it's dynamic. It supports dynamic import, but tree checking is not easily supported. In the other hand, ES modules were introduced in ES6 for browsers and server-side JavaScript. They load asynchronously in browser, they are static, and tree checking is well supported, and they also support dynamic import. Many libraries, including Babel, were initially built using CommonJS. However, the JavaScript ecosystem is gradually transitioning to ES modules. This transition period is exactly where our Babel Traverse import issue comes into play. Well, first thing I did when I faced this error, I decided to check the code base of the package. If you go to the GitHub repository for Babel and use this service called GitHub 1S, to have VS Code experience on the browser, you can check the index file of Babel Traverse and you can see there is a definition of the traverse function, and actually is exported using an ES module syntax. Interesting, I was intrigued. So I decided to check the code that is running inside my app by checking the node module. So here I can go to node modules, Babel, Traverse, and here in library we can go to the index and see what we have. As you can see here, actually we have this exports.default, which is a shorthand for module.export, which is a CommonJS module. And also in the package JSON, I found that the type is set to CommonJS to tell Node that it should treat this package as a CommonJS module. So what's happening here actually is that Babel Traverse is a CommonJS module, and we are trying to import it using ES module syntax. When importing a CommonJS module, something interesting happened. the entire code within module.exports get wrapped into a default property. Actually, a code like this with the module.exports is wrapped into a property, an extra property default. That's why Traverse doesn't work directly as expected. We are actually trying to call the object, not the function inside it. So if I change the code traverse.default to traverse.default, sorry, now it should work. Now it's working. As you can see, we have the log for the path. That's cool. So I said to myself, well, let's just destructure it and do something like this. Default as traverse, and remove default from here. Interestingly enough, this syntax doesn't work. In theory, this syntax is valid and it should work. However, it doesn't for Babel Traverse package. And to understand why, I had to search a bit, and I found the answer in this GitHub issue here. Actually, this discrepancy is due to how the CommonJS to ES module bridge was implemented in Node.js. This syntax assumes that the module has been correctly flagged as a CommonJS module during the build process. And the Babel Traverse package, being a CommonJS module, doesn't have the metadata that Node.js expects for the syntax to work correctly. In other words, it's related to the internals of Babel and Node, and it's a known bug that it will be fixed in the next major version of Babel 8, I believe, as it's a breaking change. Well, it was a lot of work to just be able to understand this import, but it was insightful to how this module systems work. So I will stop here for today for this video, and we will start using this package in the next one. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.